Wow!
In the summer of 1976, television super producer Bud Yorkin, the man behind All in the Family and Sanford and Son, premiered his newest series, What's Happening? Geared toward the teen market, the series followed a trio of best friends: aspiring writer Roger, Raj, class clown Rerun, and painfully shy Dwayne, plus Raj's wise beyond her years little sister Dee. As they navigated school-age life in LA's Watts neighborhood, the problems they faced, girls, bullies, and homework, were issues familiar to any teen. The show is loosely based on the 1975 feature film Cooley High. At least that was the original premise. And while Cooley High and What's Happening do share some themes, namely grades and girls, the film's darker elements of drugs and crimes didn't translate to a primetime sitcom. So Cooley High morphed into What's Happening. A Cooley High pilot does exist, but the only similarity between it and What's Happening is Ernest Thomas. "I was the only one left from the original pilot," says Thomas. "It definitely had more of a serious tone, and that's when they decided to do it differently." A few members of Cooley High's original cast reprised their roles in the pilot, including Garrett Morris and Maurice Marshall. Cooley High writer Eric Monte wasn't happy with the credit he received. Eric Monte, who IMDb credits as writer on the entire What's Happening series, sued ABC, CBS, Norman Lear, Bud Yorkin, and others for using his ideas for Good Times, The Jeffersons, and What's Happening without being properly credited. Though the numbers vary on the amount of the lawsuit, some put it at $300 million, Monte told the Los Angeles Times that he only ever received $1 million and some residuals. Thomas learned about the series on the set of The Jeffersons. It was Mary White, the agent of Isabel Sanford, who played Louise Jefferson, who encouraged Thomas to audition. "My first sitcom was The Jeffersons, and she was loving what I was doing as a guest star. She came over and told me, 'There's a new pilot called Cooley High, and I think you'd be perfect for it.' I had an agent already, so I thanked her and told her I'd tell my agent. When I did, he got all upset, asking, 'Who in the hell is she to tell you about this show?' But he landed the audition." Thomas was up against 200 actors for the part. "They were looking at, I would say, at least 200 people," Thomas recalls of the audition process, which lasted several weeks. "I auditioned for the role of Preach Jackson in Cooley High, which became Roger Thomas in What's Happening." The days dragged on as Thomas awaited the final verdict. "Those sleepless nights were not cutting it at all," he says with a laugh. "I was so frustrated. It was like, make a choice. I won't be mad if it's not me, because at least then I know." Rerun was written as a skinny white kid. In the original script, the character that became Rerun was written as a skinny white kid. When Fred Berry was informed of this after showing up for the audition, he insisted to the producers that, "I'm a white skinny guy." They liked Berry so much that the role was rewritten accordingly, and his character was given the name Freddie Stubbs. Mama Mabel King had been a big deal on Broadway. A year before taking on the role of Mabel Mama Thomas, actress Mabel King had played the Wicked Witch of the West in the Broadway production of The Wiz, which earned her a Drama Desk Award nomination. Though Thomas had never met the actress before she was cast as his mother, he was familiar with her work. Very familiar. "I went to see her on Broadway in The Wiz about 15 times, says Thomas. "I loved that musical. Who knew that she'd end up playing my mother? I was in awe." The cast bonded immediately. "It was literally heaven to me," Thomas says of the chemistry that immediately formed between the cast. "There are people you meet and you feel like you've met them before, or have known them all of your life. That's how I was with the entire cast. It was one of those twilight moments. As soon as we touched hands, as soon as we saw each other, as soon as you entered the room, you just knew. which is an experience I've just never had with an entire cast. Haywood Nelson was the only actor of actual high school age. Though the characters of Raj, Rerun and Dwayne were all high school students, Haywood Nelson, who played Dwayne, was the only actual teenager of the trio. He was 16 when the show premiered, while Thomas was 26 and Barry was 25. Rerun auditioned to be a part of his own dance group. In My Three Towns, the fourth episode of the show's first season, Rerun auditions to be a part of the dance group The Rockets. The Rockets were played by a real-life dance group The Lockers, of which Fred Berry was a founding member. Not all of the actors were thrilled with the series' direction. Mabel King, in particular, believed that the show's popularity offered the perfect opportunity to set some strong examples of black television characters. She didn't like that she was a single mother working as a maid, and contended that the lack of strong family models on black sitcoms was one of the biggest tragedies on television. As such, King departed the show after just one season.